My goal out of college was a fairly simple one, which was to make a living as a photographer. I was taking art photography in college, and as I was kind of getting to my senior year, I started to realize that the most important thing for me with photography was people and moments, and that really started to draw me to photojournalism. In journalism, you're trying to be as inobtrusive as possible. Your presence influences what happens in front of you, and one of my goals is to be as unobtrusive as possible, to let real things happen in front of me. Growing up, the Washington Post was my hometown newspaper. That was the paper that was slapped on the kitchen table when I was eating cereal in the morning, and I would see those photos. So that was my goal in those years. I wanted to be at the Washington Post. I used to shoot an assignment, and if the Washington Post was there, the next day I would come to the paper and see their photographs. And, you know, for those first few years, I would see their photographs and go, oh my God, how did they get that? I was right there with them, and just be blown away by the quality of their work. As the years went on, I started to see their work and mine and say, hey, you know, these are pretty comparable images. I feel like I could have done that for the Washington Post. And looking back, I think I was probably ready to reach out to the Washington Post for a job or even to start freelancing with them a few years earlier than I did. I was scared. It's scary to try for your dream and be turned down. So I didn't want to be turned down. So looking back, I think I probably could have reached out to them earlier. Coming into my role at the Associated Press is a little bit different than a newspaper photographer. We cover things for the entire world. Our photography has to be not only newsworthy and interesting visually, but it also has to provide content for everybody. An event that we cover here also has to be helpful for a newspaper in Israel or in London. One of the most important things we as photographers at the Associated Press do in Washington, D.C. is cover the president. We cover him more than any other news organization does. We staff the White House from 7 a.m. in the morning until 9:30 at night. We travel with him wherever he goes. There's always a photographer in case something happens or in case the president needs to address the nation.
Well, that was quick.
Those images that we create help educate the country as to what's happening on a day-to-day basis. And to create imagery that is interesting and educational at the same time is very rewarding. Today, everybody has a camera. right? Everybody has a camera on their iPhone, and that, along with the state that we're in with journalism, it's become harder and harder to make it as a photographer. But if you have that drive, if you can create compelling, interesting, timely photography, it doesn't really matter what tools you're using. You can stand there with an iPhone and make better photos than the person next to you. And I think that's still possible today.